Munen. What a clever guy. He managed to smooth things over with Gu Jiusi just by using a storybook. Jiusi, surprisingly, let him off the hook right away. But just as things were calming down, Yin Hong reminded Liuyu about a very important date, her homecoming visit. Panic set in.
Liuyu was terrified that Gu Jiusi, with his reputation, would embarrass her in front of her family.
So, she decided to do everything in her power to please him. She started by trying to butter him up. But Gu Jiusi saw his chance and made a whole list of demands. He wanted this. He wanted that. Liuyu, desperate to have a peaceful visit, agreed to everything without a second thought. But Gu Jiusi just kept pushing, his demands getting more and more ridiculous. Finally, Liuyu snapped. She couldn't take it anymore and declared she was ungoing back to her parents' home at all. Seeing her genuinely angry, Gu Jiusi realized he'd gone too far. He quickly changed his tune and negotiated a proper deal. They settled on 3 conditions. First, he'd get a 7-day holiday. Second, she couldn't keep changing her mind on him. And third, she couldn't tell him what to wear. Liuyu, just wanting to get it over with, agreed to all 3. Meanwhile, back at the Liu residence, drama was unfolding. Lu Juan burst into Suwan's room in a rage, with Zhang Yuer trailing right behind him. Suwan,
Liuyu's mother, was already feeling unwell.
When she heard that her daughter had charged into a brothel with a knife the day before, she was absolutely horrified. Lu Juan was furious, not just at his daughter, but at his wife, for supposedly not raising her properly. Zhang Yuer,
The conniving concubine, saw her opportunity.
She innocently suggested that Suwan should take the blame for Liuyu's actions. This way, the powerful Jiu family wouldn't cause trouble for them. Her suggestion, Suwan should kneel in the family's Buddhist hole for days, copying out the precepts for women as penance. Poor Suwan, sick as she was, agreed to do it. She spent the night on her knees, painfully copying scriptures, all to protect her daughter from her father's wrath and potential trouble with her new in-law. Finally, the day of the homecoming visit arrived. On the way there, Liuyu was a nervous wreck. She kept reminding Gu Jiusi to be on his best behavior, terrified he would say or do something to cause a scene. But when they arrived, the Liu family was stunned. The homecoming gifts were extravagant, totaling 128 loads. Liu Juan, who had been expecting a confrontation, was shocked. This wasn't a scolding. This was a proper, respectful visit from a... He quickly sent Zhang Yuer to fetch Suwan from the Buddhist hall. As she went, Zhang Yuer made sure to remind Suwan not to let Liuyu know she had been kneeling all night, copying scriptures. She wanted all the credit for her sacrifice without any of the blame for causing it. At the dinner table, Gu Jiusi played his part perfectly. He was doting and affectionate towards Liuyu, constantly putting food on her plate and whispering to her. The Liu family was completely won over, thinking Gu Jiusi was a kind and loving husband. But then, a moment of truth. Lu Juan, completely oblivious, placed a large shrimp on Lu Jiru's plate. The problem, Lu Jiru is severely allergic to shrimp. Yin Hong, her loyal maid, quickly pointed it out. To save her father from embarrassment, Liuyu tried to play it off, blaming the cook for forgetting. But Gu Jiusi was no fool. He saw right through the act. Without a word, he quietly removed the shrimp and replaced it with other dishes he knew she could eat. To the rest of the Liu family, this just looked like another act of a gentle, considerate husband. They were convinced that Liuyu had married a wonderful man and that they were deeply in love. After the meal, the men went off to drink, and Liuyu finally got a moment alone with her mother, Suwan. She immediately noticed something was wrong. Her mother had an injury on her hand and was walking with a painful limp. Just then, Suwan's personal maid, Union, couldn't hold it in any longer. She dropped to her knees and confessed everything. How Zhang Yuer had mistreated Suwan, forcing her to kneel all night despite her illness. Suwan, ever the peacemaker, tried to deny it. sticking to the story Zhang Yuer had coached her to tell. But then, an unexpected witness appeared. Zhang Yuer's own young son, Mauer. The little boy, not understanding the adult deceptions, blurted out the truth. And just like that, Liuyu knew everything. Furious, Liuyu immediately found Gu Jiusi and told him to wait in the courtyard. She had family business to handle, and she was going to handle it now. She marched back in and confronted everyone. Unwilling to let the matter slide, she bluntly accused Zhang Yuer of having malicious intentions. She wasn't just tormenting Su-won physically, she was also teaching her own son to lie. Liuyu then proposed a solution to ensure a proper upbringing for Mauer. He should be officially transferred to Su-won's name, making him the legitimate son and heir. Zhang Yuer immediately fell to her knees, crying and begging Liu Juan not to agree. And Liu Juan, who always favored his concubine over his wife, did exactly what she wanted. He barely scolded Zhang Yuer and then had the audacity to order Liuyu to apologize to her. But this was a new Liuyu. After her conversation with Gu Jiusi that morning, she had realized something important. You don't owe blind filial piety to a father who does undeserve it. So, she stood her ground and spoke back to her father with a newfound firmness. This enraged Liu Juan. He raised his hand to strike his own daughter. But before the blow could land, Gu Jiusi, who had heard the shouting, strode into the room and caught his father-in-law's arm. Gu Jiusi, ever the strategist, didn't use force. He used logic and greed. He pointed out that if Mauer was adopted by Su-won, he would become a legitimate son. As a legitimate brother-in-law, Gu Jiusi could then help him acquire property and secure his future. But, he added, if Mauer remained the son of a concubine, his hands would be tied. The moment Liu Juan heard the word money, his entire demeanor changed. The prospect of financial gain for his son was all it took. He immediately agreed to the adoption. To secure Su-won's safety, Gu Jiusi gave her maid, Union, a token from the Jiu family. He instructed her to come to their residence regularly and report on Su-won's well-being, ensuring Zhang Yuer wouldn't dare try anything again. Later, back in the safety of the Jiu family carriage, the facade finally dropped. Liuyu looked at Gu Jiusi and admitted the painful truth she had hidden for so long. Her father was a terrible husband and a terrible father, treating both her and her mother horribly. It was a raw, honest confession, the beginning of a true partnership built not on pretenses, but on shared understanding. Gu Jiusi could see it all so clearly. He saw the hardship in Liuyu's past, the struggles she faced in her own home. Her sharp wit, her habit of calculating every move weren't just personality quirks. They were survival skills, forged in the fires of a neglectful father, a shaming concubine, and the constant fear of being sold off. If she and her mother hadn't fought for themselves, their future would have been bleak. In that moment, Gu Jiusi understood her completely. A quiet resolve settled in his heart. He would protect her. He had ruined her reputation and her marriage prospects before, and now he was determined to make it right. For the first time, Liuyu saw a different side of Gu Jiusi. She realized he wasn't inherently a bad person, so she made a proposal. She gently encouraged him to focus on his studies, to take the imperial exam, earn a title, and finally surpass his rival, the Xian. If he could achieve that,
she said, she would truly forgive him for everything.
Gu Jiusi agreed.
But that night, anxiety kept him wide awake. How could he possibly compete with the Xian, the man who had been #1 in everything since they were kids? Liuyu, seeing his distress, comforted him. She knew the Xian was brilliant and had worked incredibly hard, but, she pointed out, Gu Jiusi could memorize essays much faster than the Xian ever could. To her, that was a sign of even greater intelligence. The next morning, Liuyu was up before dawn, preparing a delicious breakfast for him. After he ate, she informed him he had 15 essays to memorize. He was stunned. She had promised him a holiday. She smiled sweetly. Yes, she had promised a holiday, but she never specified when that holiday would begin. Feeling utterly wronged, Gu Jiusi hatched a plan. He secretly gave his servant, Moonin, a whistle. The instructions were simple. If Liuyu even came near the study, blow the whistle immediately. It was his only hope of not getting caught slacking off. Day after day, Liuyu took meticulous care of Gu Jiusi. She managed his schedule, his meals, his studies, everything. Her dedication was so intense that her own maid, Yin Hong, felt the need to defend her. But Liuyu calmly explained that things had changed. From now on, Yin Hong was to treat Gu Jiusi as the true master of the house. Unfortunately, Munan got a little too comfortable in his role as a lookout. One afternoon, he dozed off, failing to see Liuyu approaching the study. Gu Jiusi was caught red-handed, engrossed in a storybook instead of his essays. Annoyed Liuyu, you didn't just scold him. She increased his workload by another 10 SEA. Desperate, Munan came up with another, much bolder idea. He suggested that Gu Jiusi should try to get intimate with Liuyu. The theory was that if he made her shy and flustered, she'd be too distracted to supervise his studies. That night, Gu Jiusi decided to give it a try. He moved closer, testing the waters. But he was in for a shock. He had completely underestimated Liuyu's feelings for him. She didn't resist at all. In fact, she seemed to welcome his advance. Now it was Gu Jiusi who was flustered. He had to physically pull himself away, his plan having backfired spectacularly. Later, feeling a bit guilty, Gu
Jiusi had a serious talk with her.
He told her she shouldn't let others dictate her life. She needed to find her own passions, her own joys, something that was just for her. His words struck a deep chord with Liuyu. The next morning, she set out and wandered through the streets of Yangzhou City, a question echoing in her mind. What truly excited her? Her journey led her to the Jiu family's brocade shop. Their shopkeeper, he, a loyal and senior employee, gave her a tour of the various family businesses. As they walked into the accounting room, something clicked. The moment Liuyu saw the accountant's fingers flying across the abacus, her eyes lit up with a newfound fascination. While Liuyu was out discovering her passion, Gu Jiusi was a mess. He felt restless and antsy. He had grown so used to her strict supervision, her constant presence. Without her there, the study felt empty, and he had zero motivation to work. When he finally learned she was at the shop reviewing the accounts, he dropped everything and rushed over. But when he arrived, Liuyu was completely absorbed in the ledgers, barely giving him a glance. Feeling neglected, Gu Jiusi dismissed Yin Hong so they could speak alone. Liuyu looked up and told him she'd been thinking all night about his advice. He was right. She needed to do something meaningful for herself, instead of pouring all her energy into him. As she spoke, still immersed in her work, she reached for her teacup without looking, but her hand went astray, heading straight for a bowl of incense ash. In a flash, Gu Jiusi grabbed her hand, stopping her just in time. The sudden touch of their skin sent a jolt through both of them, and they quickly pulled away, a shy blush creeping up their faces. Just then, a man named Master Wan burst in, desperate. His business was failing, and he had come to the Jiu family for a loan. But the head of the household was away, and shopkeeper, he had no authority to approve such a request. Hearing that the young mistress was present, Master Wan turned his pleas to Liuyu. At that very moment, Gu Jiusi's mother, Jiang Ro, had returned. Gu Jiusi was about to take her to meet Liuyu when they both stopped at the doorway, witnessing the scene unfolding inside. Liuyu, with calm authority, was using the shop's funds to help Master Wan, accepting his shop's deed as collateral for the loan. Shopkeeper, he looked on, deeply concerned, feeling this was highly inappropriate. Master Wan, however, was overcome with joy, believing his century-old business had just been saved. Outside the door, a subtle, unreadable smile played on Jiang Ro's lips as she watched her new daughter-in-law take charge. What does this mean for their future? We'll have to see. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more.